Or you know what, Merav?
Hi everybody, beautiful souls, great to see you here. I'm about to do a Facebook Live. I'm really excited. It's actually my friend Emanuela is going to interview me on her Insta stories, on her Insta Live, and I am going to be completely engaged in that, but I really wanted to come in and share this with you because we are going to be talking all about the Sacral Chakra. That's right, the sexy chakra. Right, the sensual, creative chakra. So I really wanted to ensure that you got to be a part of this, that you're going to get to sort of eavesdrop and listen in. I'm going to come back in afterwards and do a Facebook Live specifically for you and kind of recap all the things that we talked about. If you have any questions in the meantime, I'm just sort of fixing my lipstick. If you have any questions in the meantime, pop them in the comments during my interview with Emanuela, and I'll be sure to answer them when I come back for the Facebook Live with you. For the time being, welcome to my womb. You are joining me here in this angle of my womb. Emanuela and I are going to go live in just a few minutes on her Insta stories. So I'm going to introduce her when she comes and sits down. She's just getting things ready. In the meantime, the Sacral Chakra episode. Dun, dun, dun. Come, Emanuela, let me introduce you to my people. This is the beautiful Emanuela. She is now joining us on Brave Ecstatic Woman, and she is definitely a brave and ecstatic woman, and she's gorgeous. And she came in with this beautiful dress that makes her just look like she's going to be a journalist and interviewing me. And then she told me that she, in fact, was a journalist, even in Iraq for a month.
For many years.
And she didn't shower for a month in Iraq. That's how journalistic integrity. So I'm really blessed that she's coming in here. She did shower and she looks gorgeous and she smells good for me. So we're going to be talking all about the Sacral Chakra. Tune in. Like I said, any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll come back and have a Facebook Live with just you in a few minutes. And are we good to go on yours?
We are gonna go live. Yeah, I actually wanted to do a quick teaser now that I thought about it. But you know what? Let's if you're ready, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's great. We could do a teaser. You guys don't mind a teaser. Let's do a teaser.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do a teaser. Let's do a quick one. So you know what? 7 p.m.
It is time. You ready? Can we get a drum roll?
Yeah. Now again, so I apologize. We're just doing a couple of live, a couple of things.
This is the behind the scenes tour.
Yes. So let me just quickly get my sip of water.
Yeah. See, with the straw, because it's like Oprah Winfrey style.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Right.
So again, it's just you and I.
Yes, it is.
Right, and it's gonna be. Yes, and then of course there are lots of people in the background.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And and we're just gonna be so don't worry about my camera. Just talk to me.
Great. I'm happy to. Yeah.
All right.
Ready.
Okay, sounds good. So let's get this party started.
You're my private audience. We're getting the party started.
All right, you ready?
Okay.
All right. Good evening and welcome to Sensual Talk. This is where we talk all things sensual, tantalizing, and sexy. I'm your host, Emanuela Fernandes. For centuries, people have been fascinated by our body's energy centers called chakras. Our sacred chakra is the most sensual chakra of them all. It is responsible for our sexuality, creativity, and sensual pleasure. Is your sacred chakra open to the world and is functioning properly? To answer all the questions related to the most sensual chakra is my friend, performer, peacemaker, and author of Brave Ecstatic Woman, Merav Richter.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me
so
at your home.
Welcome in my womb. Welcome to
womb.
my womb. Now, for the people listening, that makes it sound kind of dirty, but it's not. It's my writing and meditation room. You know, men have a man cave, right?
Yes,
and we
do.
take that as for granted. Men deserve a man cave. Of course they do. Well, women deserve their own private space, their own feminine space, that space where you can put your things in and you know that they're there. It's cleansed, it's clean, it has great vibe and great energy, and I call it my womb. And I encourage every woman to have a womb of their own.
Right.
And come into their own private space. So welcome to my womb, everybody.
Thank you so much for having us. I am so excited about tonight's conversation. I mean,
As am I.
We're going to have so much fun.
We already do.
We already do. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, we haven't stopped talking since pretty much I got here, and it's been about, about an hour. So
Yeah.
really, we haven't stopped talking. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I want to give a shout out to Dronish Media, who's sponsoring us tonight. And of course, you are in for a great conversation. All things sensual, all things sexy. Tonight, this is happening at Merav's house, okay?
Right.
And also, we're live, so I dropped actually my questions, so I'm going to pick
Because it
them right
happens
up.
live. These things happen when you're live.
Listen,
right?
I've worked on live television for many years. There's nothing like live television, but at the same time, that's part of the charm of working for live television.
Right.
So anyway, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can stay with us for the next 15 minutes or so. Merav has wealth of knowledge to share with you, so thank you for joining. Merav, so many things to talk about. So you are someone who is truly passionate about chakras. So first of all, to some of you who are not as knowledgeable about the world of chakras, and truly a fascinating world of chakras, what are our chakras?
So great that you asked that, because I get asked this all the time, and also my knowledge and my resources how I came into learning about chakras. So I'll say chakras are just basically energy centers. Now, all schools of mystical thought have had a kind of template, or have given an overlay of the human body, and in fact, the human body as a micro of the macrocosm. So in Kabbalah, you call it the Sphirot, and in the ancient Sanskrit, you call it the chakras. And today, our endocrinal glands actually line up. So science has kind of caught up with the ancient world of the spiritual, the spiritualists, that basically our human body has energy centers. Today, we have them as the glands, as the endocrinal glands, and they produce certain hormones. But the ancients didn't have that kind of a painting and the map of the energy centers, so they called them the chakras. And they're to make it. So I use the same terms, chakra, because it's the most accessible. So people understand that, but they don't really understand. It's like a mystery. What are these things that people talk about called chakras when they're out of balance? And it's really very simple. Our endocrinal centers, our hormonal balance. We are in a world so out of balance, and especially as women, we are hormonally imbalanced, and we have all the things that come with that. And they are basically 7 energy centers, or 7 endocrinal glands, 7 chakras in our bodies, and they line up. And when we're in full balance with them, then we have this energy, this power, this vivaciousness, this joie de vivre. You see a woman who walks into a room, and all eyes turn to her,
Right.
and she doesn't necessarily, it's not because she has the most expensive dress, or that she's the, sexiest size, or that she has the best hair, or it's not a matter of her physicality. It's a matter of the energy that she brings in, and it is magnetic,
Yes,
and it
it
is
is.
magical. And that's a woman who has had all of her energy centers, all her chakras, all her endocrinal glands in balance. And so
And-
she's grounded in that.
And I know a woman like this.
Oh, you do?
It's Merav.
I
mean,
yes.
Listen, this lady right here is an absolutely fascinating woman. I mean,
Thank you.
you name it, she knows about it. If it's something related to sensuality, to pleasure, she oozes pleasure, sensuality, and happiness, and joy, and joie de vivre, as Merav here said herself. So thank you very much for being that
Thank
sensual
you.
woman.
Thank you.
To me,
Thank
she is
you.
the epitome of a sensual woman. So thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for that.
Thank you.
So
The ancients called that actually ecstasy.
ecstasy.
And it really is ecstasis. It's when we're outside of ourselves. Today we call it flow.
So there's something to be said about
Yeah.
The Brave Ecstatic Woman, which
Yeah.
is Merav's book, which
Right.
you really should pick up.
Yeah. Being brave enough to be ecstatic.
Absolutely.
Because
And it does take courage.
It does. It does. It takes courage, and it takes the courage muscle to build
Absolutely.
that. We don't come to it naturally.
Right. I want to go and talk about our most sensual chakra, which is our sacred chakra,
Yes,
or also
sacred.
known as our second chakra.
Right.
So let's talk about this specific chakra.
Sure.
And what are the symptoms that sometimes people experience when their sacral chakra is not functioning properly?
100%. So, and that is, I will say, 100%, especially in North American women, we are all adrenal fatigued. We're go, do. We've been given a rule book of happiness, that looks very, very different than what our bodies actually can sustain. So the sacral chakra, the second chakra, is in fact the seat. The endocrinal gland is the adrenals, and so what happens is when we have cortisol plunge in our system, which we all do because the cortisol is that stress hormone, that, the stress receptor. What happens is cortisol actually, we produce cortisol, but in fact our body actually doesn't have a way of turning off cortisol. The only thing that we can do, so we've got adrenaline pumping in our body, we are fatiguing our adrenal. The only thing we can do to offset cortisol is to actually bring up the sacral chakra, or that creative energy. So that's the only way to balance it. We can't actually turn it off. Once we have a cortisol spike, our adrenals start kicking into gear. So the sacral chakra actually is the seat of your creativity, your sexuality, your sensuality, and really it all comes down to creativity. I mean, it is the creative center. It is your God-given right to be creative, to create. I mean, if you think of it, where do we create from? Where do we create life from? Is our womb center. Is our, as we're speaking in the womb, but is in our sacral chakra, is in our sacred sacral center. And that wellspring of creativity, when we're not in balance with it, so when our adrenals are fatigued, we have a few manifestations that do happen. Physically, we start to have very dry skin, dry hair, dry nails, right? And really that's figurative and indicative of dryness, of a dry life, of a life that isn't juicy, that we don't believe that there's enough wealth and juice and abundance and flow that is ready to come into our lives. So we start to be desert-like and sparse, and I'm
sorry to interrupt. So it actually manifests itself physically.
Physically, 100%. We start to have hip problems, sciatica in pregnancy. We start to have as we get older, hip dysplasia or hip stiffness because we haven't moved our hips and moved that sacral chakra energy around. And then also, that's the physical manifestation, so that's the literal. And then there's also the way that comes into play with our mind, body, spirit. So we start to feel a lot of malaise. We start to feel really down in the dumps, and not really being able to bring up our energy, and kind of feel like, well, so many women have said, I feel like there's something bigger out there. I just don't know what it is. I just can't create it. I just don't know. There's something that's calling me, but I can't think of what it is. And that's a result of closing down or not being aligned or in balance with your sacral chakra. So, from 1 in 4 women are on antidepressant medication. 1 in 4
Which
women.
is so sad.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic.
I mean, it's an epidemic. And really, the biggest thing that women are asking for is an infusion of creativity, sexuality, and sensuality. And it all comes from the same source.
And it all depends on our sacred chakra.
Yes, yeah. It
comes
from the exact same source. It is exactly that thing that we can open. Cures adrenal fatigue. Like I said, the only thing that can counterbalance cortisol levels is sacral chakra, is adrenals.
I read something very interesting as I was preparing for this interview, is the fact that for some people, the closure and kind of disbalance of your sacral chakra actually sometimes manifests either as lack of libido,
yes,
right? But for some people, they actually feel almost the addictive patterns of to sexuality and sexual pleasure and sexual stimulation.
Yes.
Because too much of a good thing is also not good for you. So there has to be that balance.
I love that you said that.
Is it something that you've noticed in your practice?
Completely. So in my book, what I've actually written is that for every one of our chakras, there is the shadow aspect, the too little energy, or the parts that we don't want to look at, or the overcompensation by a lot of doing, which is a lot of masculine energy. And the same is true for the sacral chakra. Each one of our chakras has. And for the sacral specifically, there is the femme fatale energy. When we go into masculine sacral chakra mode, we become a femme fatale. We base too much of our energy on our sexuality, on doing the sexuality, not even being in the sexuality.
Right.
Very often the woman who is in femme fatale energy actually doesn't really enjoy sex. It's just she's coming at it from a lack perspective, so
Right.
she wants more and more and more and more of it.
Right. But there's none of that sensuality and pleasure
That's right.
involved.
That's right. She's not
Very interesting.
being in that sexuality.
So fascinating.
So it's not about the sense of sexuality or the sense of really being in her body. It's just about the conquest, which is a
Right.
masculine element.
Right.
The
Right.
very directed, the arrow, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that.
Right.
And then she's
Right.
very femme fatale. And that exacerbates, that creates more adrenaline, more cortisol.
Very, very fascinating stuff. But I want to get to the good part. So how do we get our sacral chakra back to balance?
Oh, great question. And I love that you asked that. And, you know, I would invite women, we're not going to do it today, but I am going to invite you, and I'm going to invite all the audience, that we're going to have we're going to have a phase 2, a repeat
Absolutely.
of this interview, where we're really going to look at some of the movement. Some of the movement involved in really opening up our sacral chakra. You know, I used to teach belly dance. That was probably one of the things that really brought me into this understanding of energy in how it works in real time. Because you can conceptualize something. You know, you can read a book about flying an airplane or riding a bike, but you have to actually do it. And belly dance, teaching belly dance was actually one of the best ways that I got to see this energy around people. And I used to teach it in a dance studio where we would start and have 8-week sessions. And there was one woman who came, and she signed up for 1 week of 8-week sessions, and then she signed up for the second session, the second term of 8-week session. And sometime during the middle of that second 8-week session, she came to me and she said, you know, I just want to tell you something. I have been trying to get pregnant for the last 10 years. I did IVF. I did, you know, every sort of pill and potion and you know, and lotion that you can imagine. We tried everything. My husband and I tried everything until I finally decided, forget this. If it doesn't happen naturally, I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to just, you know, enjoy myself and go take a belly dance class. And she said, and I took your belly dance class, and now
She got pregnant.
I'm pregnant. This is exactly
So
what happened.
powerful.
And why did it happen naturally once she let go of the stress? So the cortisol has now, you know, balanced, but also she is making these movements. You know, belly dance didn't start as this thing that we see it of almost like a cheerleader, you know, showing off to an audience. It started women dancing for women, telling the stories, grandmothers to granddaughters, mothers to daughters, aunts to nieces, you know, sisters to sisters, teaching each other all these secrets about the way that our bodies move and how to move energy. And so one of the best ways, and I promise you, we will come back one day and actually move our bodies in this, you know, and come on alive to do it. But one of the best ways is that hip movement that's called the figure 8. Canceling out energy as you're moving this way and that, you're opening up and expanding that sacral chakra in a physical way, sending the body the message that I love and appreciate the sensuality that my body has. I am open to receiving. I am flowing. I am in this maya, this water flow, and I'm allowing myself to open to that. The great thing is about that is that we as women need to move our bodies in that way for our muscular strength, for our spine, and for our energy, and for our reproductive system. And biggest thing is for our creativity and sexuality and sensuality.
So movement is one of the things that are going to help us restore
Yes.
the proper functioning of our sacral chakra.
That one of the ways, one of the very distinct literal ways. Of course, any kind of creativity, anytime you start pouring your creativity, like I told you earlier, I didn't think I was an artist. I never thought I was an artist because artists drew and painted and created something.
It was more of a visual art.
It was more of a creation. You know, you even as being a culinary expert or a lover of a culinary connoisseur, that is in fact creation.
It is, absolutely.
I have a friend who invites me for dinner. She orders in. She doesn't cook anything, but she invites me for dinner, and the table is set so lovely, such a
And that's art.
And that's creativity as
That's
well.
art. Yeah.
So she is creating a creative culture, a creative muscle, a strengthening of her creativity.
Right.
Just by putting the beautiful napkin and folding it in just the right way so that it falls just so beautifully on the plate. That's creativity. So take advantage, take an opportunity to be creative in every aspect of your life.
Right.
Have your life look like art.
And really find something that works for you. I mean, I spent so many years looking for something that worked, that's something that really tantalized me. And I mean, it takes years. And I mean, some of us are not raised to necessarily cultivate our creative sides and our sensual sides, right? We, some people will say to us, well, no, you, like we were talking earlier, right?
Yeah.
You need to find yourself a real profession. And
Academic.
you need to be an academic.
Yeah,
you need to, have a job that pays bills and things like, and of course
Be
it's
realistic.
important. Be realistic,
Yeah.
right? So we are raised with all these messages,
Right.
and then it's hard to really find something that resonates with you and inspires you to live that sensual life.
Right.
So, I'm so glad that you're talking about this, Merav. And I mean, we could, go on with this conversation, but I mean, we are kind of out of time. And and I really think that we have to do another live,
Movement-based. Let's promise.
Yeah.
Let's promise.
What do you think? We'll dance. We'll do some belly dancing, Merav.
We'll do some. Well, how about we call it beyond belly dancing?
Beyond belly dancing.
Sensual dancing.
Well, that's right there. Like, I mean, I'll do that with you.
This is
Merav.
We just created something.
We just created something.
We just created.
And I think that our chakras just got aligned just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Merav, this is so much fun. I thank you so much for being a part of Sensual Talk.
Thank you.
So many things to talk about. However, tonight's communication with Merav doesn't end here. You can connect with Merav, and one of the ways to connect with her is purchasing her book, The Brave Ecstatic Woman. Fantastic read. Probably one of the best books I've read in the past year or so.
Wow, that's a big honor. Thank you.
Really, really fantastic. So, and really start a sensual journey of your own. I hope that this serves just as a small reminder that anyone can do it. It's accessible to you. It's accessible in your home. You do not have to, join a big movement or become a part of a big sensual movement. You can really start in, as I always say, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your home, in your basement. You don't have to have a specific, space that maybe, inspires you or in some ways is, something that other people would call an idyllic place for meditation, for reconnection with your sensuality. You can really do it in the place that works for you, that is accessible to you. And I really hope that you found this episode to be just as inspiring as I did. I want to give a shout out to Dronish Media once again for sponsoring us tonight. Of course, more sensual talk is coming your way, and really so many things to talk about, but please talk about it to your friends, talk about it to your family. This really will inspire you to begin a sensual journey of your own. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Sensual Talk. I'm Emanuela Fernandes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was so much fun.
So much fun. Did you have fun?
I had a great time. We're still.
You are the ultimate sensual woman.
Oh, I love. Thank you. And I'm going to come over here. Thank you. And if anybody, hi everyone, back to you guys. If you guys enjoyed that, that was lovely. That was my friend Emanuela Fernandes. Isn't she great? Gorgeous woman. If you have any questions, post them here, and I will come back and do another Facebook Live just for you, for your questions. Thanks so much, everyone. See you soon.